Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Hard to believe this is number 59 for us.
59. Wow, that's quite a journey we've been on together.
It really is. And speaking of journeys, last time we were moving up, weren't we? Through Purgatory, past the terrace of the gluttonous.
That's right. And sort of nearing that symbolic tree, the one representing, finding that temperance again.
Yeah.
Getting balance back.
Exactly. And now, well, now we're right on the doorstep.
The seventh circle, the final one before the earthly paradise. This is it, the last big test.
And it feels like a big one. We're going to get into confronting some really fundamental stuff here. Fear, mainly.
Big time. We see it so clearly with Dante's own reaction later on.
Yeah, his terror of the fire.
But it's not just about the story, is it? We want to explore how these, ancient ideas about transformation and will, how they might actually speak to your life, your own journey.
Absolutely. But before we dive into the fire itself, there's that interesting point about how these souls even feel things. Remember that? The aerial body idea. It's a bit mind-bending. How can a non-physical soul, get thin or feel heat?
Well, the text suggests this kind of shadow body, formed by the soul's own nature after death. It's this medieval concept trying to bridge the spiritual and the, sensations of purification.
So it's like your essence, your choices, they still shape something tangible enough to experience this process. It underlines that this purification isn't just symbolic, it's intensely real for them.
It has consequences, yeah. And that reality hits hard when we arrive here, the seventh circle, the place for the lustful.
Okay, so lustful. But this isn't like hell where they're just tossed around by passion.
Not all. That's the key difference. Here, these souls, they actively walk through a wall of fire. And while they do, they're singing hymns, calling out examples of chastity. It's fascinating. They mix figures like the Virgin Mary with pagan ones like Diana.
That mix is interesting. It's not just one tradition's view.
Exactly. It suggests these paths to, let's say, temperance or purity. They're kind of universal truths you can find across different ways of thinking, a broader wisdom.
Okay. But then there's Dante. He gets to the fire and just stops.
Utterly terrified, paralyzed by fear. He refuses point blank to go in.
And that fear, I mean, that feels incredibly real, doesn't it? How often does fear stop us? Stop you from taking a step that feels necessary, maybe like walking through your own kind of fire, but it leads somewhere important.
It's presented here as the final barrier, really. Fear being the ultimate obstacle to that spiritual freedom, that final growth. You needed courage lower down, but here it's about facing that deep, almost primal fear.
So the fire isn't just fire. It's the fear made visible, tangible.
Precisely. And walking through it is the active choice to overcome that internal block.
And the soul's doing the walking. What does that tell us?
It's about transformation. That powerful energy, the same energy that maybe led to lustful actions in life, it isn't being destroyed. Channeled, redirected, purified through the fire into something positive. It suggests your strongest drives, your passions, they don't necessarily need squashing.
They need directing towards something, life-affirming.
Exactly. Transforming, not eliminating.
That's a really different way to think about strong emotions or desires.
It is. And underpinning all of this is the will. Their will. They choose this. They want to cross the fire.
Unlike souls trapped by compulsion elsewhere.
Right. It really hammers home that true growth, real change in your own life, it needs that active seeking. You have to desire it. It doesn't just happen to you.
Okay, so pausing here, right at the edge of this final challenge, what are the key things for you, for the listener, to maybe take away?
Well, I think first, there's that continuity of self, body, soul, actions having real weight. Then definitely the role of fear as a major hurdle that needs active courage.
And the idea that passion isn't just negative, it can be transformed.
Transformed, yes. Redirected positively. And maybe most importantly, the absolute centrality of your own will, your choice.
Just like those souls stepping into the fire because they choose purification, your own growth needs that same active desire from you.
Which leaves us with a question, maybe something for you to think about.
Yeah.
How might facing the very thing that scares you the most, how might that actually be the necessary step for your own purification, your own growth?
Oof, that's a challenging thought, but maybe a liberating one too. Facing the fire.
Something to consider on your own path.
Definitely something to consider. Thank you, as always, and thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll get you on the next one.